Hi guys, my name is Samantha. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a mukbang, which I'm so excited about because I really love to watch these on YouTube. So today we're going to be having Pizza Hut. I got the amazing 4 and surprisingly I was able to get it in stuffed crust. And I have 5 pieces of wings here from KFC. So we're just gonna get started. And in today's video we're going to talk about what everybody's talking about today, but in a different version. We're going to be talking about a movie called Contagion. I'm just gonna start because I'm hungry. Okay, so to get started on talking about the movie, if you have not watched that movie, I recommend you watch it. It's a good movie. The beginning is very confusing at first. You have to follow very closely, but it all starts with a woman named Elizabeth. Now, you see where at the beginning of the movie Elizabeth is in an airport, and it appears to be Chicago airport, waiting to board her flight, and she gets a call from a man. And this man, you know, it seems that they were at a hotel before. She was coughing. The man asked her if she was okay, and she said yeah. She ended up ending the call, boarding her flight, going back to Minnesota, where she lives with her husband and child. And it then flips to a scene in Hong Kong where a young man is ill. He was on a ferry or something of the sort. Then it flips to London where a young woman also falls ill, and it shows in that scene where she actually dies. So you see in the beginning of the movie it just flips from scene to scene to scene in different countries with different people. So just to move this fast so we don't stay here all night, the woman Elizabeth, she got sick and son got sick as well. So you see where she was ill and she was getting worse. She actually passed out at home, and the husband, he got her to the hospital where she died, and he couldn't understand the concept of it at first. You know, he was upset, and you know, the doctor was trying to explain maybe, you know, it's a sexual transmitted disease, because they couldn't explain how she just died, what is it that killed her at the time. He was frustrated and he was saying no, there's no sexually transmitted disease, there was no STD between them, and he was upset. Anyway, you see the scene where he was leaving the hospital and going home, where his son, well, it wasn't his son, it was actually his stepson. He got a call from, I guess, the person who was babysitting. He got a call from her, and you hear him upset. Apparently the boy, he got worse, and he told the woman on the phone to hang up and call the hospital, call 911. And when he got to the house, the little boy was dead in bed. Now, during her autopsy, you'll see where the doctors were very shocked. They couldn't understand what killed her, and they opened her skull. Looking at her brain, he was surprised, and he was like, he doesn't know what it is. You know, his assistant should just call everybody because, you know, it's new. You also see scenes where people in different countries in Asia, in the United Kingdom, were falling ill. So they came to understand that it was a virus or a disease that was spreading, and it was very contagious, hence the name. Now fast forward a little bit, but the virus started to spread rapidly, and the man Elizabeth was talking to while she was at Chicago airport, he fell ill as well. And you see the scene where his wife was saying, oh, you know, he's never had a seizure before, and they just, both of them just woke up that morning sick, and you know, she couldn't understand and she was hysterical. But you know, going through scenes, you can kind of put two and two together that both of these people were having affairs, and you know, one of them would have passed on this virus to the other, and it just started spreading and spreading and spreading, and it was very easy to catch. Apparently, the company that she was working for, the company that Elizabeth was working for, people from health organization had to go in office to say, okay, who had contact with her at one point. Majority of them had contact with her prior to her leaving, because she was actually in Hong Kong for a work trip. Okay, you'll see where she was in Hong Kong for a work trip. So they were saying, okay, these persons, they only had contact with her prior to her going, so they would have been fine because it would have been past the incubation period, and if they're not showing symptoms at that point, then they're fine. But there was this one person who came in contact with her after she came back, and that was the person who picked her up from the airport. So they called him, and he was sick on the bus. And you know, they told him to get off the bus, and they rushed to go where he was, you know, to get him isolated and so forth. So there is this health organization who were just doing their investigation. World Health Organization, you know, people were just coming together doing an investigation to find out what kind of disease it was. They were trying to find a vaccine for it. They were trying to find a vaccine for it, and they were trying also to what caused it, a vaccine, and where it started. So they sent out people in different areas. One person was sent to Hong Kong, one person was sent to a different state. They were just trying to figure out where did it start, and who it started with, and how it started. Okay, I'm not going to discuss the entire movie because I want you guys to watch it, so I'm not going to discuss every single detail, but just so that you guys can get an understanding of what it is. during the time of them trying to figure out a vaccine for this virus and all the investigation of where it started and who it started with, people were going crazy. People were panic buying. Supermarkets were empty. People were wearing masks, constantly sanitizing, avoiding people, wearing all the gears they can possibly wear from head to toe to avoid contact with anybody. It's just all crazy. And during that time, one of their own got ill. One of the persons that they sent out to do an investigation or to find areas to quarantine people in one of the states, to isolate people, she got ill as well. And you see where she ended up in one of those same areas where she herself put together for quarantine. Now, Elizabeth's husband, Elizabeth who died, her husband had a daughter. So you see during the entire movie, most of the scenes live with them, and you see where he apparently was immune to the virus, which is why he was with his wife and his stepson. He didn't catch the virus because he happened to be immune, and he thought his daughter would be immune as well, but that's not the case because she wouldn't only get his gene. So he did everything he could to avoid her from getting the virus from somebody. She was wearing masks. She wasn't allowed to go anywhere. Anybody wasn't allowed to come near her. And, you know, he just kept her very isolated. There was a scene where they showed, like, he was home and he heard noise next door, you know, across the street from his house, and he looked through the window. And you could see where his neighbors were getting murdered, they were getting shot, and it was just crazy. People were fighting, people were getting murdered for food, for any little thing. So supermarkets were being broken into, people were just going in and fighting and taking what they want. And he was trying to get out of town, and he couldn't get out of town because the city was locked down. Nobody could get in or out, and there was no way that he could prove to the officers that he was not ill. So he was unable to leave, and it was just all crazy, and it's also very familiar, you know. There's this one man in the movie, I don't remember his name, like his actual name, but whatever. There's this one man in the movie, he was like the head of the persons who were sent out to do certain investigations. He was monitoring everything, and during all of this you see where he's talking to his girlfriend who happens to live in a different state. And while he thought he was alone, he was talking to her. He picks up the phone and he was saying, what's her name? Aubrey, I think her name is Aubrey, so we're gonna call her Aubrey. And he was saying, Aubrey, I need you to just pack up and leave the city. Come to where I am now. Don't tell anybody where you're going. Don't talk to anybody. Don't touch anybody. Just pack, grab a few things and just drive out. Because he knew that the city was going to go on lockdown, and he did not want her to be unable to come to him, which he wasn't supposed to do that. When he hung up the phone, it so happened that the janitor was right behind him, and you know, he was shocked and he was saying, oh, did you hear that conversation? And the janitor's upset and he was saying, you know, we all have people. But eventually down in the movie you see where he was going to get into trouble over it, but they weren't in the mood to like penalize him at the time, but definitely after they get the virus under control. There's this one doctor who was working on the vaccine, and she ended up testing the vaccine on herself. She tested the vaccine on herself, and then she went to the hospital to visit her father, who happened to have the virus and is also a medical professional, because you see where she's saying that, you know, it's his work that made him get it as well. So she tested the vaccine on herself because they couldn't wait the months and months and months to test it on, you know, animals, and then to test it on humans to see if it works before they send it out. So she just took a chance and tested it on herself. It is her own vaccine that she tested on herself. Now apparently it worked, and it would have taken, they said, 90 days to manufacture everything to send out. Now they would definitely have enough for everybody, but the biggest question, the main question was, who gets it first? Who would get the vaccine first? And they decided to give it to their own first. So like the gentleman I'm telling you, let's call him Steve, who called his girlfriend to leave town, he got two, one for him and one for Aubrey. Aubrey wasn't his wife, but he told him that. What was I saying? What did I say? Huh? Dang it. Oh. So he gets two vaccines, one for him and one for Aubrey, his wife, even though Aubrey wasn't his wife, but it would have taken too long for him to get it for her. And when he got the two, you see where the officer was saying to him, you know, do you want to take it? No. And he said, oh no, he's going home to Aubrey for them to do it together because, you know, she's excited and that. But you see where he takes the vaccines and he goes to somebody else's house, and you realize that he actually went to the janitor's house and gave his vaccine to the janitor's son. Now there's a bracelet that each person gets when they get the vaccine, which proves that they have been treated and they won't get the virus again. But he couldn't give it to the son because they would question how did he get it. So he had to wear the bracelet even though he didn't get the vaccine. And he went home and he gave the other one to Aubrey. Now the question lies, how do they distribute this vaccine to everybody? And how they decided to do it was by birthday. So it's almost like they had a lotto thing. So they would turn it and pick a ball, and on that ball it will show if you were born on this day, this month, for example March 17th, then anybody born on March 17th will get the vaccine tomorrow. Anybody who was born, whose birthday is September 6th, will get the vaccine the next day. So that's how they did it by birthdays. And you see where the gentleman, Beth's husband, John, you see where John, we're just gonna call him John, you see where John's daughter is frustrated because she wanted to see her boyfriend and she wasn't allowed to. His birthday got called very early, so he was able to get his vaccine early. Her birthday was like 3 months down the line, and her father went out. It was so sweet. Her father went out and bought her a dress and decorations and decorated the room, and you know, had the boyfriend come over after he got the vaccine, you know, for her prom. That was her prom. It was just both of them, but that was nice of him. movie Contagion, you see at the end of the movie just how the disease was transferred and who it started with. Now, the company that she worked for, the company that Elizabeth worked for, it was Alderson. Now, the company Alderson was in Hong Kong on a project. Now, you see where one of their bulldozers was going through. Is a bulldozer? We're just gonna use a bulldozer. You see where a bulldozer was going through a forest, and one of the trees that it was, I don't think it was a bulldozer, a machine was going through the forest and it cut down one of the trees. It was cutting down trees. One of the trees that it was cutting down, had some bats in there and they flew out. Now you see where one of the bats picked up something to eat, it flew in. Pigs are kept. It flew, it hung from somewhere and it was eating this item. Now it fell, the bat went about its business, and one of the pigs ate what the bat dropped. And you see the transition of that pig, ended up being slaughtered, and you see where the chef or the butcher, the chef was, it was handling this dead pig. And Elizabeth and her co-workers from Alderson came in, and they wanted to take a picture with the chef because for whatever reason, I figured they think the food was so good and they liked the service that they wanted to take a picture with this chef. And somebody came around the back to the chef to say, hey, somebody's out there to you. And he just took his hands, wiped it in his apron like this, and went out. And they were shaking hands, and Elizabeth would have touched her face, and that's how it started to transfer. And you see throughout the movie where she was at a casino, which is how the guy in Hong Kong ended up getting it. She was speaking to somebody from different countries, and that's just how it transferred. So at the end of the movie, you see exactly how she would have gotten it. It's crazy because during the movie you see, you're getting the same thing. Don't touch your face, avoid, close contact with people. People are wearing masks, people are constantly sanitizing, people are just crazy, people are going crazy. And, with what's going on now, I wouldn't say it's scary, but you see some similarities in the movie. And for that, I will recommend you to watch the movie, but don't freak out about it because, it is just a movie. During this time, I would just advise you guys to do what you can, do what you need to do. Keep up to date with the news. Keep yourself educated on what's happening with the virus that's currently spreading in real life, because it's no joke. Just do what you're told to do by your government. Follow the instructions. You see people now wearing masks, but I think it's only persons who are infected are supposed to be wearing masks. Correct me if I'm wrong. But tell me what you guys think. I know that there are some conspiracy theories going out there to say, it's man-made, or it started with the Asians eating. I mean, of course, it did come from China. It started in China, but some people are saying that it's because of what they eat. I don't know if it's true that it's man-made, but one thing I do know is that it's spreading, and I can only encourage you guys to do what you need to do to avoid it from being spread any further. I mean, if you do have it, or that you came in close contact with somebody who was tested positive, just self-isolate, quarantine yourself, get tested, get medical help. Do what you have to do. Let me know what you guys think about this entire situation. Let me know if you've watched the movie and what you think of the movie compared to what we're going through now. And share your thoughts and opinions. Somebody will be looking, somebody will be reading. And yeah, that is it. I will just encourage you guys to watch the movie if you can. You know, you can just watch it for entertainment. I'm not going to ask you to watch it for educational purposes because it is just a movie. If you're at home and you're quarantined and you want something to do, that's a good movie to watch. So yeah, let me know what you think of today's video. Let me know what you think of this type of video, and if you'd like to see me do more of this type of video, or what else you'd like to see me do. Drop a comment down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.